Drawing Down the Moon, Lunar Altars. Written, produced, and directed by Reverend Dr. Mullen. In this lesson, Reverend Dr. Mullen notes the lunar cycle permeates all life on Earth and is a pattern and blueprint for success in our lives. We see here the man in the moon image that is popular in many cultures over time. An overview of the zodiac signs associated with moon phases is most informative. Now, Reverend Dr. Mullen will present her lesson for today.
I'm astrologer and paranormal investigator Dickie Jo Mullen in downtown Orlando, Florida, with some thoughts about the energies of the moon. Drawing down the power of the moon has been in spiritual interpretation cyclical throughout the world. And we can see the influences of the moon's phases in all aspects of our lives. They affect the tides and weather, human behavior, plant growth, and the influence of the lunar cycle permeates all life. Think of how cyclical life on Earth is. We go from day to night, from spring to summer, to winter to fall. Everything is all about patterns, and finding the blueprint for success is very important in using astrology to enhance our lives in an optimal way. Divine timing is like navigating a celestial or cosmic river, attuning to distinct rhythms. The idea is to create a flow, riding along with ease and creativity. Where and how can we start, though, in the midst of all of the many cycles our lives follow? The moon is a great place to begin, and in the lunar cycle, the day of the full moon is a wonderful way to look at how this first timekeeper will help you to fuel your radiance, to rest and enjoy activities, to plan, reflect timing, and being in the right place at the right time, attuning to your needs and how to fulfill them, and much more can be revealed just by looking at the full moon. Generations back, an almanac along with the Bible was the only piece of literature, the only book most homes had, and the almanac is all based around lunar cycles. Calling to the power of the moon, addressing it as a living being, is something that's very popular in the metaphysical or spiritual interpretations of astrology. Does that work for you? Is it psychological, or is there a real power tide that the moon will respond to and understand? Well, think about how moons are often symbolized with faces. I have an example here with the crystal bottle and a crystal candle holder with the moon that shows the face in the moon. Is there more to this than just something that's kind of folksy artsy? Is the full moon really alive? Of course, the full moon is the angle of the moon's orbit as it circles the earth and reflects the sun's light. The shape of the moon doesn't actually change, although it appears to. The full moon sign in the zodiac always occurs exactly opposite the sun sign. The full moon is opposing the sun, and our vantage point from the earth makes us call it the sun sign. The full moon reveals the character of what's going on, what we would honor. And taking some time each full moon to have a simple ritual or honoring of the energy can do a great deal to improve your experience for the lunar month, which is about 28 days long. It varies a bit from 27 to 29, but that's the average time period. The full moon in Aries occurs during the sun sign of Libra. Libra is September 22nd to October 22nd. During that time period, look at any normal calendar. You don't need a fancy astrology ephemeris, and you'll see that the new and full moons and the quarter moons are always marked. Find the day of the full moon during that time period, September 22nd to October 22nd, and that will be the full moon in Aries. This brings in a fireball of energy. Move forward with illumination and changes. Be aware of overkill, overdoing things, but have an activity pace for this first full moon of the autumn season. Go somewhere to higher ground, and a cliff, a rooftop, a hill. Look at a wide landscape, a wide perspective. The color red goes with the full moon in Aries. A red candle is extremely positive. One crystal that is popular is a ruby. I have one right here. Supposedly the ruby was struck with a red spark from Mars, the god that represents the sign of Aries and relates to this time of the year. Also a tiger's eye agate would be very positive. Sounds like cymbals that will ring. This is a little rattle that sometimes I will rattle at the full moon, but a bell or other musical instruments. Drums are very popular for full moon rituals. Perspective and clarity is your goal, whatever that represents to you. I like to go somewhere on higher ground and look out at the wider horizon if at all possible. A tall building would be good, a rooftop if you have access to that. At Bach Tower, that's the highest point here in Central Florida. It's possible to climb a hill and have quite a wide, broad perspective if you want to do a little bit of a journey to honor the full moon in Aries. The full moon in Taurus takes place during the time of Scorpio, October 23rd to November 21st. This is a practical grounding full moon, and it's very rooted. Patience, looking for comfort. Music and sound relate a lot to the full moon in Taurus. A ritual that was adapted from a psychological study done at a college in London, King's College, was something that showed how the exposure to trees, the sky, and birdsong could enhance wellness and well-being. Similar experiments have been conducted around the world, and the practice is called forest breathing, which simply means taking deep breaths outside in nature and then thinking of releasing negativity. There's a Japanese technique that will lower blood pressure, traveling light into a forested area. Leave your phone behind, your cell phone and your computer, and enjoy the visual patterns of shadows, the sun and the moonlight. Slowly savor the journey. A barefoot walk across grass or just standing on the bare ground without shoes and socks, feeling the earth through the bottom of one's feet. That's extremely good in honoring the full moon in Taurus and attuning to that. An emerald is a very good crystal to carry. It represents spiritual sight, and then also a moss agate to honor the feeling of that. The candle color, switching it to a green or another earth tone. Full moon in Gemini takes place from November 22nd to December 20th. This is going to be the time of Sagittarius. And the full moon in Gemini is a time to bring everything that's desired to be lighthearted and butterfly-like to the form. Transformation, dancing or prancing, taking some vitamin D the sunshine vitamin because of that. In the northern hemisphere, being the time of short sunshine is good. A new look, sprucing up, an old type of thing, fruit drinks, salads, getting out of your routine comfort zone by taking a different route to work is good. A symbol that represents communicating with the moon is all about. This is one that I got on the sacred Isle of Iona long ago. It's a created stone with the moon symbol and a citrine crystal, which represents mental clarity, is a good crystal to carry under the Gemini full moon. The full moon in Gemini represents versatility, multitasking. Try to avoid anything that's redundant or repetitive. We have a full moon in Cancer from December 21st to January 19th. That's the time when the sun is in Capricorn, and the full moon in Cancer at that time is good for wrapping your arms around the generation. Parent, child, grandparent symbols, emotional feelers, respecting boundaries, a ritual that it represents love meditation with a rose quartz or a moonstone is good. A pink bubble technique, visualizing a person or situation in pink bubble energy to represent loving kindness will work. Safety and nourishment. Encouraging the home life, home atmosphere, good ventilation within the home will make this positive. And your candle color switches to white under the full moon in Cancer. We have a full moon in Leo each year from January 20th to February 18th. That's the Aquarius time, expressing personal truth, displaying individuality. Find a favorite garment and dress it up a bit with jewelry or accessories. And a favorite t-shirt that has a message on it. Let your individual light shine. During the time of the full moon in Leo, it's all about light. Turn on all the lights, and having something that represents brightness around you, sparkle. Possibly those lights that absorb sunlight and then go on automatically under the time of darkness would be good. Next we have the full moon in Virgo. This is the full moon in the time of Pisces, February 19th to March 20th. Make a list of what your gratitudes are, a gratitude journal. Write a thank you note or call or email to someone who's been positive. Think of your first home, where you first started your life. Visualize the door if you're no longer there, like most of us won't be, and send a thank you to that first home. The idea of releasing negativity and criticism, and a picture or thought of a place or person that represented a good experience, recognizing the polarity between light and shadow, and also a gift of good health. A good color candle would be blue to mauve, and sapphire or carnelian agate would be a good crystal to honor the full moon in Virgo. The next full moon is going to be in the time of Aries, and that's when the full moon is in Libra. We're halfway through our lunar journey. We began with an Aries full moon in the time of Libra. We're now at March 20th to April 19th. That's when the sun is in Aries, and the moon will be full in Libra at that time. And this represents that no one is an island, as John Donne said, or to paraphrase his famous quote. Companionship, teamwork, negotiating a relationship, forming new bonds, creating harmony and joy. A ritual practice of giving and receiving, meeting with a person part way, List 5 things that you receive and read the list aloud to yourself, starting with you're grateful for, whatever you might receive from others, and then list 5 items that emphasize what you want to give away to others. This simple step will stimulate collaboration, delegation of power, empathy, supportive help when needed. Good color for the full moon would be deep rose, and a crystal would be for the full moon in Libra, jade. Also rose quartz again is good. The full moon in Scorpio comes between April 20th and May 20th. Now this is the full moon when the sun is in Taurus. The Scorpio full moon especially relates to a spiritual flow amid chaos and structure. Dig deeper into truths for the cellular level about healing and evolution. The deeper mysteries of life, death, and rebirth are here. Find a quiet corner in which to retreat and reflect. What's important to repair, clean, or declutter? Those are all good goals under this full moon. Sagittarius full moon occurs during the time of Gemini, from May 21st to June 20th. When the moon is full in Sagittarius, it's a time to heed omens and synchronicities. What seems meant to be. Weave a model of the future. Animal companions are especially important. It's a good time to foster a homeless pet or to adopt a new one, looking onward and upward at different targets. Think of the Sagittarius symbol of the archer aiming at an ever-distant target. And during the time of Gemini, that full moon will guide you in the right direction. Full moon in Capricorn occurs during the sign of Cancer, June 21st to July 22nd. This energizes limitations and how to rise above them, live the life that you want, blocking energy leaks that might come through little sleep or loud noises, too much food and drink, too much screen time, too much indoor time, too much texting, email, phone calls, too much multitasking. All of this is good to give up under the full moon between June 21st and July 22nd. What makes you feel good or not under the sensitive ritual that's done with the full moon in Capricorn? What is a good precedence? What can you let go of? How can you avoid a negative pattern? Security issues, stability, the value of valued possessions would be emphasized here. Full moon in Aquarius. This is the full moon that occurs during the Leo time. It's the full moon between July 23rd and August 22nd. This is a time that enhances independence, initiating input, brainstorming, a session that you can share with others but yet to develop original ideas. A meditation or timetable. Solutions have a community application. Be curious, ask a question, explore patterns. Purple would be a good color, and amethyst would be a good crystal to represent this time period. The full moon in Pisces is when the sun is in Virgo. That's February 19th to March 20th. This full moon seeks personal truth. It is a good time to focus on meditation, intuition, connecting with angels or a favorite spiritual advisor, setting boundaries that might have dissolved that have to be reformed. Also a time to see how vulnerable you are beneath the outer mask that many of us wear. Time spent at the ocean. Remember, Pisces is the sign of the fish. And the full moon here is going to be a very good time to focus on when we want to resolve that personal truth. That is going to be when the moon is full in Virgo, the time of Pisces, February 19th to March 20th. So stargazers, as you look at the full moon each month this year, focus on the sign opposite yours, people born under that sign, on the opposite sign of the zodiacal wheel. It's all part of the whole and may help you to understand the deeper mysteries of the lunar cycle and live in harmony with them.
Reverend Dr. Dickie Joe Mullen, astrologer, psychic, and parapsychologist. Dr. Mullen provides the following services: astrology, psychic, rune, and tarot card readings, face-to-face and Zoom readings and seances, and webinars and face-to-face presentations. Thank you for watching. Reverend Dr. Dickie Joe Mullen can be contacted at her skymaiden@juno.com email address. She also has a Facebook page, which she invites you to view, and her WordPress site, where she has additional resources.